Hi guys, thank you for joining me for another online yoga class. Apologies in the delay in getting this one up to you. I had a bit of a trouble with the microphone breaking and I had to order a new one. Anyway, that's all sorted now. I just wanted to say thank you as well to those of you who have donated to help support me making these videos. It's been really a great help. For anyone who wanted to donate as well, I'll leave a link down below for the PayPal, and I've also set up a Patreon which is like an online donation service to help support the videos. Today's class is going to be a full-length class. It's going to be a chill-out class. So it's going to be restorative style yoga. That's not to say it's necessarily going to be an easy class. It's going to be lots of deep stretching. We're going to spend pretty much the entire class on the floor. If you have any sort of joint issues or anything like that, just go really, really gently, because we're going to be working into a lot of the more deeper tissues, the deeper stretches. So especially, any joint pains, don't go anywhere beyond pain. You should be able to breathe through the sensations you're feeling in the postures, and you should be feeling a nice juicy stretch, but no sort of sharp sensations or pain. I recommend, if you've got any props, a couple of blocks will be useful. If you have a strap, you may want that. I don't have one, but if you've got one, a bolster as well is going to be really ideal for this practice. So like a long yoga cushion, or if you haven't got one of those, maybe just like a nice pillow or something you can use to support your head, your neck, that you don't mind using for your yoga practice. So get into something comfy and we'll start in our seated pose. So you can stay cross legs. You can extend your legs out in front, take your shins in towards your chest, or sit up on a block, whichever feels more comfortable to you. And we're going to begin by just connecting to the breath. So I recommend here that you begin to close your eyes. If you wanted to take a hand mudra, you can take Gyan mudra, your index finger and your thumb connected with the remaining 3 fingers stretched out in front. And if they weren't already, softly close your eyes. Begin to tune into your breath. Deep breath in and out through the nose. If you're familiar with Ujjayi Pranayama, on your exhales, create a small restriction to the back of the throat, creating an ocean-like sound in the back of the head, making your breath audible. And once you've found a place where you feel still and balanced, begin to tune into how your body feels in this seated position. Is there any places of tightness or soreness today? Anywhere you particularly wanted to stretch? Maybe your shoulders feel a little bit tight. Try to let go of any judgments you may have. And anytime you begin to tell yourself stories on how you think you should look or how you think you should feel, just gently and without judgment, bring your awareness back to the breath. Nice long spine here, crown of the head lifted, shoulders drop away from the ears. And we're going to try to stay connected to this breath throughout our entire practice. This breath is going to be such a useful tool to help us go deeper into the postures, to allow us to stay balanced and present. It's going to be our point of connection. So if at any point you feel your mind begin to wander, we just bring it back to the breath. This class is not only a wonderful thing to do for your body, but also a wonderful thing to do for your mind. And just so you know, I will be relatively quiet in this class. I will cue you through the postures, but after that, you're pretty much on your own. So you're going to be using your breath as a tool to listen to the sensations in your body, using your breath to go a little bit deeper, journeying inwards, bringing the awareness away from the external world and tuning into the more subtle sensations you feel within your body. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Bring the palms together at the heart center. Gently open your eyes, Namaste. Okay, so we're going to start with pranayama, which is a breathwork technique today. So we're going to be starting with nadi shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. If you have any respiratory issues or any lightheadedness, or you're just not feeling that well today, I recommend that you either skip this part entirely or you just come into your Ujjayi breath practice, just long, deep breaths in and out through the nose or mouth if you're not, if maybe you've got a blocked nose. Otherwise, we're going to be taking Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, for about 5 to 10 rounds, depending on where we get to. So you're going to take your right hand, you can have your index and your middle finger either to the inside of the thumb and the palm of the hand, or to the third eye center on your forehead, whichever feels more comfortable for your hand. You're going to have your thumb to your right nostril and your ring finger to your left nostril. And what we're going to do is for the breath in, we're going to inhale through the right and exhale through the left, then inhale through the left and exhale through the right. Okay, and so on for about 5 rounds. If you get a little bit confused, a little bit lost, don't worry, just come back to your normal breathwork practice and we can start wherever we left off. Okay, so I will cue you through it, but again, don't worry if you sort of get a bit lost. I might get a bit lost as well, so no worries. So either index and middle finger to the forehead or to the inner palm. As we inhale, we block off the left nostril, inhale through the right. Thumb to right nostril, exhale left. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release the right hand down to your knee. Connecting to your Ujjayi pranayama, your yoga breath again. Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, is a really wonderful practice. If you don't have much time, but maybe if you're feeling a little bit stressed, a little bit overwhelmed, it's a really great way of centering yourself and calming yourself back down. Okay, so we're going to come into Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose, for our first posture. So you can stay seated on the block if that feels comfortable. Otherwise, we're going to bring our knees into our chest, bring the soles of the feet together. You can have your palms to the outside of the hips, either fingers tented or palms flat, or you can interlace your fingers around the toes. We are going to be moving into a forward fold, but this sensation may not look like much, as we're going to be moving from the hips to start with, so we're not rounding through the spine. If the knees are up here and they don't feel comfortable or supported, you can place blocks underneath the knees. If they feel comfortable but they're not reaching the floor, you can always just leave them to the side as well. So with each breath in, we lengthen, we create space, the shoulders draw away from the ears. As we exhale, we hinge forward from the hips, bringing the gaze down towards the floor, a foot or so in front of you. You can gently begin to use the elbows to press the thighs down towards the floor, but don't force it. You should be feeling a nice stretch in the hips, the inner thighs, no pain. And I encourage you in any of the postures or all of the postures where you feel comfortable and safe, that you begin to close your eyes, allowing the awareness to draw away from the external body and tune into how you feel inside. Connect to your breath, clear your mind. And you're more than welcome to stay exactly where you are if this feels comfortable to you. If you want to just move into a slightly more passive version of the posture, you can begin to release your chin towards your chest and release your forehead down towards your toes. If that feels a little bit too intense in the back of the neck, a little bit too much of a compression in the throat, then just stay nice and long through the spine, keeping the gaze forward. Otherwise, we're aiming for forehead to toes. Take one more deep, full breath in. As you exhale, allow yourself to surrender to the posture fully. And then as we inhale, we very gently roll up the spine. It may even feel nice to have a little lift at the top, reaching through the chest. Bring your knees to center, and you can extend them out in front. We're going to come into Paschimottanasana now. So take any movements your body needs between postures, maybe shake out the legs, roll the ankles if you need to as well. So for Paschimottanasana, we're going to have our legs extended out in front, but we're going to have a bend in the knees. This is a really fabulous pose if you've got a bolster. I don't have a bolster, so I'm just going to use a block to demonstrate. But if you have a bolster or a cushion, you can bend your knees and then place the bolster on the tops of the thighs. Take a hold of the back of the thighs or around the shins, or maybe you can hook your peace fingers around your feet if it's accessible. And what you're going to do is you're going to keep your torso sandwiched to, if you don't have the block or the bolster, then sandwiched to your thighs, otherwise sandwiched to the bolster. And you're going to begin to gently slide forward. And you're going to, if you have a spare block, place that underneath your knees once they found a comfortable position, and you're going to begin to fold forward. So having the block will allow you to rest down, rest your forehead down. Your arms can come alongside the body with the palms face up. But just moving into a position where you feel a lovely deep stretch down the backs of the legs, but also a place where you can feel comfortable and allow the body to open at its own pace. You're giving yourself the time and the space to go deeper. You're not forcing anything. And maybe over time, you're allowed to go that little bit deeper, maybe adjusting the block, going a little bit lower, maybe bringing your hands that little bit further forward. Listen to where your body is today. That may be completely different to where it was yesterday or last week. Moving into our last 30 seconds or so in this posture. Begin to notice if your mind's wandering away. If it is, just gently bring it back to the breath. Maybe use this opportunity to go slightly deeper with each exhale, creating beautiful space, filling your body with fresh new energy on each breath in, and exhaling to surrender, opening up. Let your body know it's in a safe environment and ready for stretching. And when you're ready, release the hold of the feet or the legs if you had a hold, and begin to gently roll up the spine. Again, maybe taking a little lift at the top. Release the block or the bolster if you had any props. And just shake out the legs. These spaces in between the posture are just as important as the postures themselves. So take any movements that your body needs. Here we're going to move into Gomukhasana, cow face pose. We have the option for cow face legs, or if not, we've got Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fish's legs. So I'll cue you through the half Lord of the Fish's legs first. So you extend your legs out in front. You'll bring your right knee in towards your chest, and then you'll bring your right foot to the outside of the left leg. Okay, so you should be feeling a nice stretch in your right hip here. If you're not feeling so much of a stretch here and you wanted to take it into cow face, then what you'll do is you'll bring your left knee in so that the left heel comes to the left hip, and then you'll bring your right foot towards the right hip, ultimately having your knee stacked in front of you. If you have any pain in the knees, then come into the half Lord of the Fishes version. You should be able to have both sit bones grounded into the mat. So if you find you're lifting that right hip up, then just come into a different variation again. We're going to have the option to stay here, or if you wanted to, you can keep your hands down to either side of the hips for support. If you wanted to add in the cow face arms as well, then you'll have your strap. You'll bring your left arm up and over, so the opposite side to the leg. You can take a hold of the strap and then reach your right arm back behind you and take a hold of the strap. Maybe you can slowly inch your fingers towards each other. Maybe you can hook the fingers together, reaching that left elbow up towards the ceiling, right elbow goes down. If this feels too intense and you just don't want to take it at all, you can just begin to take your left elbow up towards the ceiling and take the right hand on top, gently opening up through that shoulder. Okay, so options here. Take one that feels good to you today. We won't be holding this posture for too long, about a minute altogether. So just be mindful of your body, be mindful of your knees, especially. If you feel any pain in the knees, then just come out of it. What we're looking for here is a build in intensity, so you should be feeling a lovely deep stretch in that right hip and the shoulders, but no pain. If you feel any pain, come out of it. No judgments, no harshness. Take one more deep breath. Exhale, let it go. And then very gently release the arms, release the shoulders, release your legs by bringing them back to center and then extending them out in front. And we'll take that now on the other side. So we'll do that on the left side. So we'll bring our left knee in for the half Lord of the Fishes variation, left foot to the outside of the right knee. Fingers can stay tented, or you can add in the arms as well. If you wanted to take it a little bit deeper, you're feeling not as much of a stretch in that left hip, then you can begin to bring your right heel in towards your right hip and your left heel in towards your right hip. Knees stacked in front of you. If you find that that left hip is beginning to lift up, then you may just need to come into a different variation. Okay, add in the arms, so the opposite arm. So your right arm will come up and over, left arm back behind you, and again, maybe a strap. If this feels too much, take your left hand to the top of your right elbow and begin to stretch down. Holding here for about a minute. Deep breaths. Again, close your eyes if you feel safe and stable. Take one more deep, full breath. Let it go. Release the bind very gently. Bring your knees back to center and then extend them out in front, taking any movements that you need. Any movements in your shoulders as well that feel good. Fantastic. So we're going to come into Anahatasana, heart melting pose. So we're going to come in through a tabletop. So just checking that your hips are over your knees, your feet are flat out behind you. We're going to have a block ready here, and we're going to extend our arms forward and towards the outer edges of the mat as we release our forehead down. So our forehead can come to rest on a block on any setting, or our forehead can come to rest on the mat. Checking in that the hips are staying over the knees, they're not pushing back. And focus on spiraling, so the inner elbows are facing the front and the triceps are facing down, opening through the shoulders and the chest. If this does feel too much and too intense in the shoulders, you can always come to rest in a child's pose, bringing the hips back to the heels. If you wanted to increase the intensity, you can come up to the tips of the fingers, tenting the fingers. And very gently, with control, begin to walk your hands back up, taking any movements in the shoulders that you need at the top. From here, from our tabletop, we're going to bring our right foot forward to the space in between the hands, and we're going to move into Ekapada Kapotasana, recline pigeon pose. So you can begin to walk that left foot back. We're going to heel toe the right foot over to the left hand side, so towards the left wrist, and then release the right knee down towards the right wrist. That right heel can come back towards the left hip, or it can stay at more of a parallel with the edge of the mat. So you may find that your right hip comfortably reaches the floor. Mine doesn't. If it does reach the floor, fantastic, but try to avoid the tendency to rolling off to one side and stay neutral in the hips. They should be facing forward. If it doesn't reach the floor, bring a block to the underneath of the right sit bone. If you're here and this causes pain in the knee, you'll come into a reclined version, which I'll demonstrate for you just in a second. So don't come into this variation. Otherwise, we're going to move forward into a forward fold. So with each breath in, we create space, the shoulders draw away from the ears. And as we exhale, we begin to slowly walk forward. Maybe that means dropping down onto the forearms. Maybe we can rest our head on a block, or if you've got a bolster, you can rest your head on the bolster. That's a lovely way of using it. Or maybe begin to rest your forehead down to the backs of the hands or the mat. So as I said, if you had any pains in the knees, we'll come into reclined pigeon. So instead of coming forward, we'll come down onto our backs. You're going to cross your right ankle over your left thigh, gently opening that right knee to the outside. So opening through the hip. You can stay here or take a loose grip around your left thigh or your left shin. Try to flex the toes back towards the knees to protect the knee. Nice and engaged through the legs. Okay, so pick whichever variation feels best for you today. Moving into our last few breaths on this side. Notice if the mind's begun to shift away from your practice again, returning to the chatter of everyday life. If it has, just softly and without judgment, bring it back to the breath. And just begin to scan your body, notice any places where you feel the most tension or sensation, and try to direct your breath to those places. So with your inhales, you send fresh energy into your body, and with each exhale, you allow that place to stretch fully and completely surrender to the posture. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, begin to walk your hands back up as slowly as you need. Tuck the toes under on the left foot to support your leg here. Release the block if you had it. And then begin to gently Bring your right foot back to meet the left, coming into a tabletop, and just begin to stretch out that heel, lengthening the leg. Maybe draw some circles with the hips. I can feel like a nice stretch after that posture. And then when you're ready, we'll come into it on the other side. So bring your left foot to the space between your hands. Begin to gently stretch that right leg back behind you. Heel toe the left foot towards the right wrist and release the knee down towards the left wrist. So that may mean that the left ankle comes down towards the right hip. That's fine wherever you are on this side. It may end up being more parallel with the front of the mat. Block underneath the left hip for support, or not if you don't need it. As we inhale, we create space, lift through the crown of the head, engage, lifting your chest. And exhale, hinge forward, either to the forearms, the block, release your forehead down towards your hands or the bolster or the mat. And again, if there's any pain in the left knee, this side may feel different. Come to the reclined version by coming onto your back, bringing your left ankle over your right thigh, and drawing your right thigh or your right shin in towards your chest. Still getting a wonderful opening to the hip without putting any strain on the knee. Moving into the last few breaths on this side, begin to again scan your body. Notice where you're feeling the biggest stretch, and with each breath in, send fresh new energy into that place. And with each breath out, surrender, allow the stretch to come to you. Let your body know it's in a safe place and ready to open that little bit more. And then on your next breath in, begin to gently walk your hands back up, tuck the toes under on the right foot, release the block from underneath the left hip, plant the left hand down, coming back into a tabletop, taking any movements that feel good in that left leg. So maybe stretching through the heel, maybe some small hip circles or big hip circles with your knee. And then from here, we're going to gently come to lower down on our bellies. Okay, so from here, we're going to come into Shalamba Bhujangasana or Sphinx pose. So we're going to have our shoulders over our elbows and our forearms parallel with each other, palms spread wide, fingers spread wide. And we're going to just begin to lift through the chest, draw the shoulders away from the ears, lift the gaze, look forward. If this feels a little bit too intense on your lower back, you can begin to bring your elbows forward slightly, taking some of the strain out of the lumbar spine, but still getting a lovely stretch in the chest and the shoulders, opening up through the front body. Just go with the posture where you feel most comfortable today. And find a comfortable position for your neck. So try to avoid arching, looking up too much, or try to avoid dumping into the shoulders, but try to stay in a neutral position where your neck is an extension of the spine, so following and tracking in the same way. And maybe begin to close your eyes. Beginning to tune into your breath again, Feel the gentle motion as your breath travels into your belly. Needing to rise and fall. And you're more than welcome to stay here. If you did want to take it a little bit further, you can begin to bring your palms to mat distance apart and begin to extend the arms towards straight. So the elbow creases should be facing the front, the shoulders should be drawing away from the ears, and try to avoid the tendency to lock out your spine and dump into the shoulders, but instead stay nice and lifted, nice and engaged. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, lift the chest. And try to release any of the muscles that don't need to be activated. So release the glutes, release the legs. The heels may even begin to roll out to the side slightly. Even though this is a slightly more active variation of the posture, try to find comfort and stillness here. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale. Very gently release down. Bring the palms underneath the shoulders. And we're going to come back to a child's pose. So press the hips back to the heels. Knees can be together or you can bring them to mat's distance apart. Release your forehead down to the mat or towards the block. And your arms can stay extended out in front. Or if you wanted to come into embryo pose, you can bring your arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. Just use this opportunity to reconnect to your breath. If you wanted to set yourself an intention for the practice, now is a wonderful time to do that. So with each breath in, you breathe your intention in fully. That could be a word, a mantra, a sound, a colour. Anything you're hoping to get or anything that you're grateful for. Breathe that in fully. And with each exhale, you let go of anything that no longer serves you emotionally, physically, or spiritually. You release, you reset and cleanse yourself of all these impurities. Take one last deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Begin to walk your hands back up to center. We're going to come to lay down on our backs and come into a supported bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. So if you know where you're going, feel free to come into it with me. If you're not sure, watch me first so you know not to move your head from side to side. You may want a block here. As we lay down on our backs, we're going to bring our heels in towards our sit bones. We've got hips, knees and ankles all in line. We're going to move our pelvis into a posterior tilt so that the tailbone draws down towards the backs of the knees. As we inhale, we're going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling and then place the block on any setting underneath the sacrum, which is the flat part of the spine. It's just above the bottom, not the curvature of the spine itself. So that can be on the lowest setting, the medium setting, or the highest setting if it feels good to you today. And then you can release your arms alongside the body with the palms faced up. Just check in that the knees are staying in line with the hips. The feet are parallel with the flat edges of the mat. Use this opportunity to deepen your breath. Feel open through the front side of the body with each breath in. And And allow the chin to draw away from the chest, creating space for your breath to travel freely all the way down into the belly. Take one more deep breath. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, feel strong through the heels of the feet as we lift the hips just enough to release the block from underneath us, and very gently, one vertebrae at a time, we release down. So we're going to come into Matsyasana, fish pose, with the option of supported fish pose if you've got a bolster. Otherwise, we're going to be using blocks. So take a little bit of time to set yourself up here. We're going to have either the bolster, so it comes to meet you at your lower ribs, just at your lower back. So about here. Otherwise, we're going to have the block underneath our shoulder blades, between our shoulder blades, and then we're going to have another block to rest on our heads. If you haven't got a block, maybe a cushion feels nice. So you can either have it on a lower setting to open up through the throat that little bit more, or you can have it on a higher setting to support your head. And just take a bit of time to get into a comfortable position here. So the first block between the shoulders, so the shoulders can melt out to the sides, and the second block to support your head. If it feels nice, maybe place it slightly lower so you can feel nice and open through the throat. And then once you're stable, release your arms alongside the body, allow the shoulders to drift out, opening to the sides and beginning to go down towards the floor, opening through the chest and the collarbone. Release any tension in the legs, maybe just give them a little wiggle side to side so you know they're not holding any tension there. Moving into our last few breaths on this side. Begin to bring your elbows down towards the mat. Feel strong through your elbows so that as you exhale, you can bring your chin towards your chest, lift up, prop yourself on your elbows, just enough that you can release the blocks from behind you, and then come to lay down on your back. We're going to come into reclined bound angle pose. So you're going to bring your knees in towards your chest. You're going to bring your feet together, soles of the feet together, knees fall open to the sides. You can place blocks underneath your knees for support, or just let gravity take hold. You can rest your left hand on your heart, your right hand on your belly, or you can release your arms alongside the body. Bringing your awareness back to your breath. Or if you set yourself an intention, bring your awareness back to your intention. With each breath in, allow your intention to be breathed in fully. Journeying with your breath all the way down into the belly. And from there, being diffused through your entire body, through to the tips of the fingers, the toes, and the crown of the head. And with each exhale, you let go, reset, restore, release anything that no longer serves you. Take one more deep, full breath. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, bring your knees to center and extend them out long. We're going to move into banana asana, banana pose, one of the poses I really love. It's a really deep lateral stretch and it feels really good to open up through the side body. So you're going to bring your feet towards the right corners of the mat. You're going to bump your hips over to the left and then bring your shoulders over towards the right. This may feel like a deep enough stretch for you. If you wanted to take it a little bit further, then you can cross your left ankle over your right and take opposite hand to opposite elbow overhead, getting a really deep stretch through the left side. Try to direct the breath into those left side ribs. Take one more breath on this side. Gently release the left ankle from over the right, release the elbows up overhead, and then bring the left foot over to the left with the right foot. Bump the hips over to the right side, and then bring the shoulders over towards the left. So again, you can bring the right ankle over the left to increase the stretch if it feels nice, or take opposite hand to opposite elbow. This side may feel different, so go with where you are on this side. Try to ensure that that right hip stays nice and grounded and doesn't begin to lift up. Take one more deep breath on this side. Release the elbows, release your right foot from over the left, bring the feet back to center, bring the hips to center and the shoulders back to center. Bring your knees in towards your chest, take one more squeeze, drawing them in tight, or have a little rock around here if that feels nice. Any last movements your body needs before we release into Shavasana. Extend your legs out long to the front corners of the mat. Release your arms alongside the body with the palms face up. If they weren't already, begin to close your eyes. Begin to scan your body. Notice any places where you feel sensation or tension. And just micro adjust as needed. Maybe that's wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, allowing the shoulders to draw away from the ears or tipping the chin towards the chest. Feel heavy but supported here. Allow the earth to hold you and support you as you begin to sink deeper into your mat. Visualize yourself as a pebble on soft sand, beginning to slowly sink in. Be completely still. Let your body know it's safe and ready for rest and digest, to process all the wonderful work you've done. Let go of your Ujjayi Pranayama, your yoga breath, and let your gentle, natural rhythms return to you. Don't try to force the breath any particular way. Allow the mind to stay clear. Any stories or judgments or thoughts that come your way, just let them go. Let them drift past as if there were clouds in the sky. See them, acknowledge them, but let them go. Just stay here, completely present, relaxed, peaceful, in complete unity of the body, the breath, and the mind for the next few minutes. encourage you to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you need, at least another 3 minutes. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. As you go forward, I wish you peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, peace in your heart. Namaste.